G'day, Steve from offthegridnoz.com again. Don't you hate that? All my videos, I start them off that way. Never mind, that's just the way it is. This is another one in the series about the system. I thought I'd make this one. I've had a hard day, you know. The system's a bit of a bitch for all of us. Doesn't matter whether you're working in the system. And yes, I'm sitting on the veranda of the little house. How old? The building we lived in for a few months. But yeah, look, I've had a hard day like a lot of people out there. I still work at 61. I still go out there and work within the system. Unfortunately, not all of us are independently wealthy, so we have to go out there and deal with the shit outside the gate. The ye old outside the gate. Anything outside our gate, I got to tell you, comes straight under the category of the system. And when I go to work, like this morning, I know I'm in for a hammering. I had to dig holes with a crowbar, I had to cut timber, and I was in the sun, I was sweating my guts out. You know, we all have to go out there and still deal with the stinking system. We may not like it, we may not agree with it, we may hate it to death, but at the end of the day, if you want to keep up the connections you have with the system, which may be your phone, might be your car, might be your registration. I don't do insurance. Fucking insurance. There's another story. I'm not going to talk about that. There's a big story behind that. But anyway, look, you have to go out there just like most of us probably and do battle with the system. Now in this video, I just really wanted to talk about one thing about the system and the effect it has on especially the new people coming through. Alright, if you're 45 and you've been doing this for a few years, you're smart. I mean, you're smart. You've learned enough smarts. You may not be a bloody genius, but none of us are geniuses, alright? But if you're in that age bracket, you know, mid-40s, 50, yeah, you've been around long enough to know enough shit. But if you're 28 and you're looking to go off grid, the system becomes something that you have to deal with in all sorts of ways. The ways I've mentioned in the last couple of videos on this. But one thing that really I did want to make a video on was the effect of the system as far as the information that's out there. And I'm talking SpewTube, Faceplant, all manner of different individuals that do documentaries on the system. We'll all agree that, you know, the system sucks. I mean, the system's really stupid. I put it into the category of something that a 7-year-old child could deal with, you know. The system, you would think. And I'll give you this analogy. What would happen if we all decided that there was nothing out there, right? The system didn't exist. And we all got together, all of us people in humanity, and we thought we'd develop a system. Well, let's develop a system that penalises people, crucifies people, you know, incarcerates people, restricts people, shuts down thinking. Yeah, let's get that system together. That's what the older people, we already know that's the system we live within. Now on that note, and just on that note only, a lot of people go off grid. Not everyone, a lot of people go off grid just to grow their veggies, whack their solar up, honky-dory, everything's happy, you know. We all sit around the fucking, you know, the wood fire at night at 9 o'clock and sing Kumbaya and everything's friggin' marvellous. But unfortunately, a lot of people tend to look a bit deeper into things like the system. And I know I'm just panning across the bush there. It's better looking at my ugly head. You know, I've said that a few times. Yeah, look, we all would like to sit around the fire and sing Kumbaya and think everything's fine. But I'll cite mine and Kerry's example. We tend to look a bit deeper into things like the system from a historical point of view, a financially historical point of view, an archaeological point of view, historically based, like when you look back deep into the history and the origins of man and humanity and all the stuff, you know, like shit, you get a fucking headache just thinking about it. And I'm not here to give you a headache. But for the new people coming along, and I know there's there's reams of videos out there for people to watch, probably not as simplified as mine. And my simplified version is, or it does go like this. if you watch things that encompass, let's take it on a list. There's such a long list. We'll have to start from one point and go to another point. Let's go with the evils of the system to do with finances. Yes, okay. Federal Reserve, banking, blah, 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 blah. All the shit to do with money. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. All manipulated stuff. You need to do your own research. Jump on Google and do research about the history of finance, the history of money within the system. The system's a bitch. It's been set up by bitches. It's still running and operated by bitches. So, you know, look at that yourself. I'm not going to rattle on about it. So the system has this component of finance, which is really, really unfair, controlled, all the stuff that you hopefully will look up yourself and find the answers to. The system also has a component of conspiracy. Now, the conspiracy stuff, fortunately or unfortunately, and a lot of people would go, oh, the conspiracy, oh, shit. Oh, no, I don't watch that because it's a bloody conspiracy. Well, unfortunately, most conspiracies are founded in some fact, at some point. The basis for that original conspiracy will be because it was looked at from some factual base. Now, you might be looking at what our society does, how our society is controlled, the things that our society has had shoved down their throat. You might be a flat earther, you might be a NASA, never gives a straight answer, the old NASA. You might be a person that thinks that the corporations are run by lizard people from another planet that are inhabiting the inner earth. I mean, gee whiz, you jump down the conspiracy road, and I'm not bagging any of it, and I'm not supporting any of it. The fact is, there is such a broad range of thinking out there, and I personally believe that a lot of this thinking that's out there as far as the conspiratorial things that are kicking around have some basis. We can all look at 9/11, the old ye old 9/11, a bit like my ye old outside the gate. Yeah, look, we can believe the old Arabs came in here came into America and caused all sorts of chaos, in a nutshell, and there's hours and hours on that. If you're interested in perhaps what the system has inflicted on its own people, you might want to look at 9/11 and draw your own conclusions. I'm not going to tell you what the conclusions are, but there's a lot of pictorial, video, and dedicated discussions from people who were witnesses involved in and on it goes. You could focus on just that and have a bit of a look. Now, that won't tell you much, and you will never know, just like me and Kerry don't know, you will never know what the absolute facts are. But what it does is opens up the door to the possibility that there is a lot more shit going out, or a lot more shit going down out there in that system than what the younger people particularly may think is actually real. Now, if you go outside your gate and you think that the police and the courts and the people who send you the big envelopes with the red heading in capital letters based on Admiralty law, if you think those people are all honky-dory, probably you want to turn my fucking video straight off. But if you think there's something odd, alright, if you just go out there, you've been home growing your veggies, you've been working on your solar, don't you love today? 30 degrees today. I sweated my ass off till just after 3 o'clock. I tell you what, I must be getting weak. We're like in the second, third day of March. And I tell you, I just don't deal with this heat. The sun is really hot. That's another story about the heat. But yeah, look, if you're like those large, the large group of people like myself and Kerry, and you look outside your own gate and you think, shit just isn't right out there, There's something not right. Well, then maybe you want to look down the road of a few of these conspiratorial theories. And there are lots of knuckleheads out there throwing this stuff up, but there are a lot of really good people. I mean, there's a lot of good people that actually have stuff up on finance, world finance, where it stems from, people that control it. There's a lot of stuff out there about the military, its original use, where its history stems from. There's a lot of stuff out there about religion, where it comes from, the point of it from way back, and its relativity today. There's lots and lots of stuff out there. It's all relative to the system that us poor bastards are all stuck within now. So my video today is purely just to try and encourage people to look deeper, and that's the key. I'm not here to tell you to go jump down the 9/11 road or get on the freaking IMF's bandwagon with their monetary freaking bullshit, or look at the Federal Reserve. Look at the whole damn lot. Take the time, and if you've finished planting your vegetables and you've finished digging your holes and you've done enough today, and you're sitting down having like myself, a really nice cold distilled water, if you're doing that, maybe take the time to look at some deeper stuff. You might go, I haven't got the time for that. Well, maybe you haven't got the time for that, but you know what? Maybe the time you don't dedicate to that will be the most valuable time that you will spend. We all need inspiration. We all need the incentive placed before us to continue doing this hard graft of off-grid living. You don't want to do this just for some, I could run out and just plant some seeds and grow my lettuce and shut the fuck up, Kerry can knit her macrame and we can make our distilled water and everything's honky frickin' dory. The world's perfect. I'm swearing a lot. Apologies, bad luck. It's been a hot day. But no, I think the whole point here is for everybody to have a deeper look and gain the experience from looking at many people to do with all of these topics that affect the system. All of these things that have created the system. All of these things that are responsible for the system to continue on like it is. All of the things that cause you to look at your front gate and go, some shit out there just doesn't make sense. Alright? And that's all this is all to do with. I just would like the younger people to not be closed-minded. When you've finished making your dumplings or bottling your tomatoes or tending your goats or building your bloody greenhouse, when you've done that, if you have the technology and you have a camera or a phone or an internet connection, do a little bit of research into what is the reason behind what pisses you off about the system. A lot of people aren't pissed off about the system. A lot of people are just a little bit perturbed by it. A lot of people just go with, not quite right, so bugger off, I'm just going to crawl under my rock in my little off-grid world. That's good. Myself and Kerry have chosen to actually explore lots and lots of alternative thinking. And you go, oh, that's airhead shit. And I'm guilty of using that term airhead, right? Airhead meaning someone that's just got their head in the clouds. I'm not dumb. I understand what airhead is. But take a little bit of time yourself. If you get a quiet moment, have your distilled can of water, and just have a bit of a look around you. Go a bit deeper. Find out why the motor registration branch sends your letters to you with your names in capitals. Find out what your birth certificate actually means. Find out what your birth certificate actually is. Find out why the banks actually own your ass, whether you own your property or not. Find out why your local council owns your property even if you paid every cent on it. Find out why everything that you own now can be taken off you by this system. To find out the answers to those questions, you need to look deeper. Alright, some of the stuff, and as you go through this process of looking deeper, some of this stuff you will find is put up by loosely what I would describe as knuckleheads, alright? They're people who mean well, they're people who have not an evil thought, but they're people who haven't looked at it closely, or they haven't the understanding to assess what they've looked at. And they come up with videos that are, oh, everyone's out to kill us, and fuck me, yeah, the troops may come in through the door, and the bloody government may stick us all in FEMA camps, and the fucking US government may send spaceships over and pull a false flag, whatever. I don't exclude, but I don't include. Everything I watch, I don't automatically include, and I automatically do not exclude. You need to look at a lot of material. This may consume some of your valuable time, but you need to look at a lot of material to draw a balanced view as to what the general consensus is out there to do with people who are not still in the sheepish urban lockdown. They're not locked into that thinking. You unfortunately need to go through a lot of material from people who you may not like, listen to a lot of their dribble, and some of it's drivel, but there are a lot of good people out there, and I'm not going to cite them now. I'll put links down the bottom. Fucking use your own bloody Google browser and frickin' find it yourself. They're all over SpewTube. They're all over in private websites. Just type keywords in. Look for, why does my rego look like this? Why is my name in capital letters? Why do I not own the land that I'm on? Why do I not have the right to build a house without a permit? Permits. The system. Why do I have not the right to build a house without a permit? Who the bloody hell brought that in to create a situation where you need permission to survive? We all have an inherent right in most constitutions for shelter and food. Go look at that one. I mean, that's a biggie. That's a biggie. I could probably make a 2-hour video on that, and I'm not going to bother because there's plenty of people that have done it. Look at the straw man. You might want to read the straw man, and you're going to go, what's the straw man? Just type the straw man into Google and go have a watch of some of the stuff that's been put up about that. It's a whole topic to do with the lack of rights we have as individuals, or the seemingly awkward way the system has, not awkward way, I call it a bastard of a way. The system has been set up so that we think we have rights, but we actually don't. But the reality of that is that we actually do have rights. And that's why I do what I do, and that's why I've been thinking like I have for such a long time. Look up the straw man. It's a very good one to, start your research on. But do the research. You can listen to an old fart like me go on about the system and, oh, I hate the cops. The cops are fine. I play with the cops. If I've had a can of distilled water, I'll quite often pull up at a breathalyzer station and they'll go, yeah, move on, and I'll go, no. And I've actually bounced out the car and asked for a recount. These people will pull you up on the road and demand your information, physical details, biological details. That's bullshit. That's total bullshit. But sometimes I actually get that pissed off that I actually jump out the car and go, no, I just swallowed a can of distilled water. Well, okay, might have been a Jack Daniels. And I know I'm not over 0.05, but they tell me I'm 0 and they tell me to move on. And I go, fuck you. There's like 5 police here, 3 cars. There's an extraordinary amount of money being spent to pull me over. And I have had a can. And they tell me I'm okay. Yet if I had maybe had 3 cans, they would go, no, you're not okay, and they would incarcerate me. The system is really screwed up, even on that level. Go and do your research. I'm not going to harp about that. That's just one tiny example. There's lots and lots of ways that you can look into stuff that seems to be clear and simple on the surface. It isn't clear and simple when you look deeply at it. So as far as the system goes, I'm just encouraging people to look deeper. And look deeper into subject matter that might push you out of your comfort zone. Fuck your comfort zone. You might be a great vegetable grower. You may be a good builder. You may have, a great attitude towards the world, nature, the whole lot. You're still stuck within the system. Go have a deep look. Become part of the vastly growing group of people who are questioning the shit that is outside your gate. So anyway, I'm going to leave it a very short one, this one, because I'm knackered. I've had a hard day because I'm stuck within the system like you people, or most of you. I had to go and earn some money today. So yeah, Steve from offthegridnoz.com. Please subscribe, give us a like, whatever, you know the drill. I hate starting and finishing videos the same way, but unfortunately that's the way they've got to be. Give us a subscribe or a like, we're friendly. We understand, and we understand on a broad base. I don't like a lot of people to come at me with a definitive line on anything. You might get an anti-police person and that goes, oh, the coppers are this. You know what? Most of the coppers are just doing their job as they understand it. They're not evil people. They're just lost. I call them lost. You might run into the local council. They're just lost. They're just doing their job. Do your own research. Check out what this system is. What it inherently is. Deep down. And you're going to have to listen to a lot of people's gibberish if you're new at this sort of caper to figure that out. So I'm going to leave it at that. It's a beautiful day. Time for me to go and have a good... I was going to have a shower, but I might just have we're actually been using a lot of water lately, so I might just have a really good sponge bath. And I'm going to have another distilled water. And Kerry's got some lovely veggies for dinner tonight. She's been doing all sorts of lovely stuff today, bottling stuff up. We're into preserving food. Going to do a few videos on the preserving stuff. Kerry's sort of relatively new to it, but she's getting right into it. We need to be able to store the vegetables we grow. I could give them away and give them to the salvos or somebody, but we want to sort of hang on to it. We're preppers. I'm going to do a video on preppers. We are preppers, myself and Kerry, but we're not preppers for doomsday. We're not preppers for the end of the freaking world. I'm not waiting for a spaceship to come and beam me up, Scotty. None of that stuff. Fuck, if a spaceship come along and wants to beam me up, I tell you, 61, I reckon I'd be in for it. Thumbs up, take me away. I don't think that's going to happen though. I don't think the Russians are going to shoot nukes at the Americans. I don't think the Chinese are going to bomb Iran. Shit, We prep, but we don't prep for the end of the world. We prep for the future, and we plan on a future. I want to be active and surviving and helping myself survive and Kerry survive well into our 70s. And that's what I believe, alright? The system will still be there more than likely, but we are going to be here as well. I won't buckle, cave. I'll still have to deal and work within it, but it doesn't frighten me. Go have a look yourself, do your research, look at the components of the system that irritate you. Find out what bugs you outside your gate. Cheers from Stephen off the grid.oz.com. Usual. I could repeat again. Alright, I'll repeat it again. Subscribe and like. We love that stuff. All of us, with the best of meanings, like a little bit of a pat on the back. Fuck, that's fucking terrible. But yeah, look, go and do your own research. Find out what is outside your gate. Find out about what is outside your gate that annoys you. Don't just go and tend your lettuce. Don't go home and just put your shade cloth up and think everything's kumbaya. I mean, Kerry and me, just like a lot of you guys, we wish everything was just sit around the fire and kumbaya with a distilled can of cold water. We'd love the world to be like that. She's not that way inclined. Alright, so it's cheers for now, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'll probably do another one on the system in a bit more detail. It's such a big topic, and I tend to rattle because I'm old. You got to cut me slack, guys. I'm old, right? Maybe fit and suntanned and all that, but I'm old. So cheers again from Steve and Kerry. Hope you have a good day. Hope you've had a good day. I hope it's been productive. I hope you put the effort in. When you're bored, go have a look at the components of the system that piss you off, and put up with some of the shit that comes your way when you look. Don't just turn it off just because someone comes along and rubs your nose up the wrong way. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. There's 3 don't do that's. Look at it more deeply. So that's it for today. I'm out of here. Have a good one. Bye.